I'm bigcal and welcome to my world. Today is another Star Wars books video. However, it's a bit different this time as I will be talking about 3 different books. And the reason being is they're all kind of short and they're all sort of part of the same, it's almost like a trilogy of them, I guess. Like a journey to the Star Wars The Force Awakens. So I've just decided to do all 3. Got these very cheap a while back. I think I showed them off in a pickups video. Anyway, we'll get started first. Is Star Wars The Weapon of a Jedi, a Luke Skywalker adventure. The book basically starts before The Force Awakens. C-3PO's doing whatever and he ends up talking to some, resistance fighter, and she finds out that, oh, this is C-3PO, he knows Luke Skywalker. Tell me a story about him. And he starts telling the story of the battle on Endor with the second Death Star. It's like, no. Everybody's heard that story. We all know it. Tell me something different. So he decides to tell her the story of when Luke Skywalker first used his lightsaber in battle, which is obviously happened before he fought Darth Vader. And starts off with Luke doing a job for the rebellion, but the Force is pulling him towards this particular planet. So he goes down there and turns out there's a very old Jedi temple there. But it's off limits because apparently people have died going there and they claim that it's haunted and all this stuff. He ends up finally paying this bounty hunter essentially to take him to it because nobody else on the planet would because they're all terrified of it. So he finally gets there and basically the Empire shows up. And they all come and he gets in a battle with them, and then the guy who escorted him there decides, fuck you, I'm going to kill you, take your lightsaber, and then see if there's any treasure hidden below this Jedi temple. And that's the first time that Luke ended up using a lightsaber. Obviously, there's a bit more to it than that. The book isn't particularly long still, it only tells this one little story, but it was a very fun read, and I read it in a day. It was just very easy to read through and a very fun story. The next one is a Princess Leia adventure called Moving Target. This one is a bit longer, it took me 2 days to read, and basically it's set between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. Now, they've just found out in the book about the second Death Star being built, but it's not completed yet, and basically, they need to find a way to get a full fleet over towards Endor to take out this Death Star. But, obviously, they don't want the Empire knowing, otherwise they'll be just going into a trap. So Princess Leia decides, what if me and a team of people go to the other side of the galaxy, go to all these different planets and leave these beacons saying, hey, we're building up a new fleet at this location, everybody meet here in so many days. And basically do it in a way that you're not trying to get attention from the Empire, but still you want them to know about it, so they have to go about it in a sneaky way. And basically have this new fleet build up as a decoy while you're building up the real fleet over here to attack the new Death Star. As she goes along, she realises that, this fleet that she's building up here might very well die. The Empire will, obviously, they want the Empire to know that it's there and that they're building it up. And they'll probably send people to come and destroy them, and she starts feeling guilty. She's not allowed to tell her team either at one point, but then she finally gives in and lets them know. It's like, if you don't want to be part of this anymore, I understand. She ends up telling the fleet about it, just as the Empire does show up in a battle, and they get caught. Leia and the team get caught, but they manage to escape, thanks to Plan B from the commander that's on the team. And the fact that the fleet that was building up all comes to rescue her because, they admire that she at least told them the truth, sent them away before they could potentially die, and then they made the choice to come back and help her out. And it is set, the actual book is set I don't know if it's just before The Force Awakens, I guess, and a droid comes along and is like, Princess Leia, it's time that you recorded your memoirs. So she starts off by telling this particular story. Very, very good read again. There's a couple of interesting characters as well. Some of them make it out alive, and some of them don't. And finally, Star Wars Before the Awakening. And we get to meet the 3 heroes from The Force Awakens, and see what they get up to before The Force Awakens. We start off with Finn. He's during his training for the Empire, or the First Order now. And he's an outstanding soldier. Captain Phasma thinks he's going to be the next best thing, basically. But during the training simulations, he does seem to have a weakness, and that is compassion for his teammates. There's one guy on his team who is utterly useless, and he keeps rescuing. He keeps going back to rescue him. Even though if it was a real battle situation, he could very well end up killing himself and the rest of his team just to rescue this one guy. And as his little story progresses, because this book has 3 in 1, Captain Phasma starts putting him in situations to see if he will just ignore this guy, let him die, and continue on for the good of the Order and not for his team. And obviously in the end he doesn't do that, and right at the end his team gets sent on their first mission, which is the mission that we see in The Force Awakens, which leads me to believe that the guy that dies, he gets covered in his blood and causes him to take off his helmet, just sort of lose it, is the guy that he kept trying to save during the training missions. And the guy that calls him a traitor is one of his former teammates that we meet in the book. So that was a cool little story. And then we have Rey. She's on whatever planet it is. I can't remember exactly. My mind is losing. Jakku, there we go. She's on the planet of Jakku, of course, and she's scavenging, and one day she happens to come across a ship that nobody has ever seen before, because of the sandstorms and things. Things can get blown under sand and be covered up for years, and she discovers this ship, realises that she could salvage some stuff now and get something out of it, or she could spend the next couple of years maybe fixing it up. And if she has a ship in working order, she could literally get enough, food and supplies from the guy that we see her sell stuff to in the film to probably last her the rest of her life on Jakku. And while she's doing this, she gets found out by 2 of the scavengers who agree to help her. Because they have their own little places that they look for items, and they've got their own specialties, and they all work together great. They get the ship all together, they get it flying. All 3 of them fly it to that little place in Jakku where the guy that buys things off them is, and they land. Rey comes out and basically says, tells him what the ship is, it's in full working order, she wants nothing less than something like 10,000 of those little packets or whatever, and a couple of other things. And just as she's saying this, the ship flies off. And she realises that the other 2 didn't want any of this stuff on Jakku, they just wanted to escape the place. Whereas she was happy to stay there because she's waiting for her parents to come back. So she's not, she doesn't get, super angry at anything. She understands, why they did it and why she didn't go with them or anything like that. And it's just a nice little look into what Rey does and, why she doesn't want to leave Jakku and things like that. And then finally we have Poe Dameron's little story. He starts off, he's part of the New Republic, he's in the army or whatever, the pilot. He's got his own little team, he's doing well. But then something happens with the First Order, and it's like, no, we've got a treaty, they're not supposed to come into our territory, and we're not supposed to come into theirs. They've come into ours and, attacked this ship and run off with it. And he wants to find out more, but his superiors are like, no, just don't rock the boat, it's one minor little offence. We don't want to start a full-on war like this, and he's pissed and ends up going out, searching himself anyway, and ends up coming across a huge fleet of the First Order where they shouldn't be, and barely escapes alive. When he comes back, he'll get summoned by a general, and it turns out it's General Leia Organa, who ends up bringing him into not rebellion, I mentioned it earlier, the resistance. That's what they're called now, because they're no longer rebelling against the thing. They're the resistance fighters against the First Order. So he gets put in a crazy situation where he has to hijack a ship the second it comes out of hyperspace, so the people on the ship don't have time to delete any of the entries of where they've been. Because they believe that this ship that belongs to a senator, the senator is in with the First Order. So it's a dangerous mission, and as they do it, the First Order comes to try and rescue the ship. And by rescue, they mean blow it to pieces so that none of the information gets out. Of course, Poe Dameron and his team do manage to get the ship, uncover that this senator was in with the First Order very deep. So just a little insight into what Poe Dameron was doing before The Force Awakens. And right at the end, one of the bits of information that they get is that the First Order are also looking for Luke Skywalker, and they believe that this particular guy is a person of interest in trying to find him, and that's the old guy that we meet at the beginning of The Force Awakens. So yeah, those are three little books that give us a taste of what's to come in The Force Awakens, and gives a little history that we don't know of some of the characters. A very fun trilogy. Like I said, they were £2 each. These two were in 3 for £5. This one wasn't, so I had to buy these two at £2 each, and this one at £2 each for £6, rather than all three of them being in 3 for a £5. It was only £1 extra, and they're very good books, very easy to read through. Like I said, I got through the Luke Skywalker one in a day, the Leia one took me 2 days, and Before the Awakening took me 2 days as well. Very interesting books, lets you know a bit more about some of your favourite Star Wars characters, and I very much enjoyed them. So, I'm bigcal, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time.